After the successful start to the Groningen Open tournament and my victory in round 1 against a lower rated opponent, in round 2 I got paired up against a much higher rated opponent, against Dutch International Master Nico Zwirs, whose rating was 2476 at a time. So this was one of the highest rated players I have ever faced, and let's take a look at what happened. So, in this game, I had the white pieces again, which is a little bit weird, to be completely honest, that you get 2 whites in a row at the beginning of an open tournament, but somehow the pairings work that way. And I decided, in contrast to the first round, to stick to what I know a little bit better and play e4. And after c5, I played this move bishop to e2 for the very first time in my life. Now, this move looks a little bit strange, like what is this? Like, how can this be any good? But there is a point to this move that it protects queen. The queen, it doesn't go outside of the pawn chain where it can be attacked. And there are some finesses. I don't want to reveal all my preparation. I do want to mention there is a course on chess devoted to this variation. It's called the British Grand Prix. It's made by International Master Richard Powysser and Grandmaster Simon Williams. And also there are some players, most notably Vladislav Kovalev, a very strong Grandmaster, who plays this quite regularly with quite reasonable results. So yeah, the reason I played this is I really didn't want to kind of prepare for 5 different Sicilians and also face my opponent's preparation, so I wanted to be the one to, let's say, choose the variation. And this move has the extra benefit that it's just like the Alapin Sicilian. It kind of sidesteps everything, and yeah, it reduces the amount of theory and work you have to put in, and you just play chess. And this was definitely a surprise for my opponent. He thought for 6 to 7 minutes here, and ultimately decided to play the move e5, which put me outside of my book, which is a little bit pity because it is a move you should check, but it is not one of 3 or 4 main moves in this position. This move basically tries to prevent white's idea of playing f4, or at least combat it. But the drawback is that it obviously leaves the d5 square hanging, or not protected. And actually the best move according to the engine here is the move bishop c4, violating the principle of moving the same piece twice, but getting this kind of position where your bishop is on a much more active diagonal and where it is exerting influence over the d5 square. So this is not completely an unknown theme in the Sicilian. I think there are some cases, for example, after knight f3, knight e6, bishop c4, that they play e5 and you get a relatively similar position. But this is with the moves knight c6 and knight f3 included. So it is kind of indicative that here, even with the loss of tempo, this bishop c4 move is an idea. But yeah, that was beyond my pay grade, although I did actually consider this move during the game, but I thought, okay, I'll just look silly and people will think I'm a moron for doing stuff like that. What I should have done here is, I should have realized that my plan should be to play with some sort of f4 push anyway. So after d3, for example, knight c6, I should consider playing f4 here maybe, or at some point, kind of like in the Vienna style. But I wasn't quite sure what happens here if they ignore it, or if they play with d5 at some point, and I just didn't understand the position properly, so I ended playing up more timidly, playing with knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5. I was trying to fight for the control over the d5 square, but this point is much less venomous with the bishop on e2, because yeah, I'm just not having enough white square control. I would much rather have the bishop here instead of on e2 now. And after bishop e7, I decided to play bishop takes f6. This is a common motif or idea in these types of positions. We are eliminating the defender of the d5 square. Bishop f6. But here, the problem is that, once again, I don't have that much control over the d5 square. So if I play knight d5, they play d6, and now bishop e6 will come, and they can easily challenge this knight. And I didn't like that much, so I thought, okay, one way I can be clever and exploit the fact that I haven't moved this knight yet is to use this diagonal and play bishop g4. Mind you, the way I played is a little bit timid, and I already have kind of given up all hope of having any sort of opening advantage, which doesn't necessarily make this bishop e2 move bad in itself. It was just my continuation to it that kind of wasn't up to the point. And the idea of this move is to exchange the white square bishops. For example, d6, bishop c8, rook c8, knight to d5. I'm not even sure how good of an idea this is, but at least it is an idea, because I'm also eliminating my opponent's bishop pair. But here he played g6, making some room for this bishop, potentially preparing h5 if needs be and such. And also I was thinking that this is a preparation for the future f5. So here I considered something like knight to d5, bishop g7, knight to e2, castles, but I wasn't sure about the move like f5, for example. Not sure how to evaluate this. So, but I probably should have played like this anyway, because after knight g to e2, which was my developing move, I was hoping maybe to have knight to d5, maybe I did put the other knight on c3, and I also didn't want to put the knight on f3 so that I don't run into some h5, bishop h3, g5. It looked very dangerous, bishop f5, knight to e7. I wanted to have the retreat square for the bishop here in case of h5. And here after knight to e7, which was a good move, it surprised me. I was already preparing to play knight to d5 on the next move, but here he played knight to e7. And now if I play knight to d5, he will take, and this transformation of the structure is bad for me. I have the doubled pawns, and more importantly, I have kinda removed an obstacle from the way of the f pawn, so he'll play bishop to g7, for example, f5 at some point, and this just doesn't look right for white. So I played castles, he played castles, and here I think I went wrong. So like up to this point I've been playing kinda chicken-like chess. It was not my intention, it was more the consequence of my lack of familiarity with the position and with the opening variation. But here I decided to kind of play actively and play f4, which is probably not the best, because I'm opening the position up for him and for his bishops. I should have probably played queen to d2 or something, like, improve a little bit, connect the rooks, semi-wait to see what they will do. I don't know, I didn't quite like against this plan of bishop g7 then playing for f5. I may have a little bit overestimated its strength. I'm not yet sure, but I don't think f4 was right, because I'm opening up the position for the bishop potentially and creating some tension that I can't justify. And here he reacted very well. He met my side demonstration or kingside demonstration with the demonstration in the center by playing d5. And now there is this he's creating a lot of tension within the central pawns. Okay, I first have to take this bishop takes c8. I don't think I can get away with f5 here. I considered it, but I thought that he can just take everything, and I don't know, whichever way I recapture, he'll just play king h8, and the open g5 will be his, and this pawn will be weak, and he'll have massive center, and I just thought I worked here, which is probably true. So I decided to take on c8, rook c8, and here I wanted to make f5 work very much, but after the game he told me he would have gone d4, which actually turns out to be the strongest move here, kicking the knight away, and then, yeah, like after knight d1, I mean, he can do many things. He can move the bishop, he can move the knight, he can maybe take on f5 even. Yeah, it doesn't look right for me. I was hoping to maybe make some gf5, knight g3, f4, knight h5 work, but even here after knight g3 he might just take d takes e4 and things are unclear. So yeah, I couldn't make f5 fully work, and not to mention I even missed the best move, so it was kind of also fortunate that I didn't go for it. So I played ed5, trying to resolve the tension in this way. Once again, if I don't do that, then maybe d4 will come, maybe ef4 will come, opening up the bishop. If I take on e5, he'll gladly take on e5 and increase the scope of the bishop. So I thought I have to react and take ed5. He played knight to d5. I took, because I didn't really like going, because knight e3 is threatened, so I don't have time for knight e4, and also like queen to d2. I don't know, it just didn't feel right, like allowing him to take here and then opening up the bishop in this way. Knight d5, queen d5, and here I played f5, trying to prevent him from opening up the position, and yeah, like trying to play against this bishop. So now if I can get some sort of knight c3, knight e4, I will be more than happy. Let's say a6, knight c3, and let's say he doesn't give a check but goes back. I play knight e4, and this is, I think, a pretty reasonable position for me, because this knight is now much better. But of course, being the strong player he is, he didn't give me that chance. He played e4, and I expected this, and I knew that I'm kind of struggling here, that I'm already worse. I thought it's not yet so bad. I might have a little bit underestimated the danger, but I was like nervous and I knew I was under pressure. So there is not much choice but to take d takes c4, queen takes c4, knight to g3, defending the pawn and hitting the queen. I would like to play knight c3 here, but then he can potentially just take or move the queen or whatever. I just lose a pawn, like queen e3 and then takes here. Seems pretty reasonable. So knight g3, and now he played queen to e3. I also wasn't sure about queen to d4 check here, because some endgame like this, it feels a little bit unpleasant because of the pressure on the c2 pawn. So I decided to, but I don't know, maybe here, like, and otherwise, to be honest, if I play here, then he takes, then I take, I evaluated this as losing for me, because this a pawn is strong and bishop is better than the knight. So yeah, maybe that was possible, but queen to e3 seemed also kind of good, king h1. And here he played rook c2 d8. I expected only bishop to b2, but then after rook b1, he goes back, I take on b7. I thought it's not so horrible for me. But he has this strong intermediate move, rook c2 d8, hitting my queen, and basically forcing me to exchange queens. Because if I play queen g4, he plays rook d4, which is a very nasty intermediate move, and I have to play queen f3 here. If I play queen to h3, then rook h4 comes, and my queen is trapped, funnily enough. And if queen f3, rook f3, I just have a worse endgame, because like even worse than what happened in the game, because these rooks are active, my back rank is weak, my rook here is not harmonious, and I don't want to play like this. So I played queen e1, which I thought was the only chance, and the engine, the computer agrees. And after queen to e1, I took with the a rook, because if I take with the f rook, after bishop to b2, rook b1, he has bishop c3 hitting my rook, rook e3, and then bishop d4 hitting my rook, and he's, I think, in time to protect the pawns there. On the queen side, I don't know, like rook a3, I can probably just play b6, and yeah, it feels wrong, or yeah, I'm actually not sure how to handle this, but I mean, at the very least, he also has like okay, let me just double check what to do here. Sorry, I didn't. Yeah, okay, bishop d4, rook a3 should be winning, like anything win. c4 is the easiest, protecting this, and if rook b7, he has like rook b8. Yeah, this just doesn't work. I mean, no point in allowing this, so yeah, I should have checked it before I started recording, but what can you do? So rook a1 I played, and this was the first, I think, very critical moment for him. Here he played a little bit timidly and defended the b pawn, or moved the b pawn and defended the c pawn. We both thought initially that after bishop to b2, rook b1, bishop e5, rook b7 is not as terrible for me. I thought during the game, okay, I'll get the a pawn, how bad can it be? But after the game, we immediately analyzed the game, and also the engine confirms this, that after rook d2, rook a7, rook to c2, this is actually extremely unpleasant for me. My king is weak, this bishop is dominating this knight. I can't so easily make some room for the king and move the h pawn, because my knight is hanging. Rook b8, rook b2 is coming, the c pawn is very strong, and my a pawn is not really going anywhere. So this would have been big chance for him to win, and he immediately understood it after when we were analyzing the game, and so did I. It looked from afar, it didn't look so terrible, but when it appeared on the board, then it's like, oh wait, this is so unpleasant. It often happens in chess, and I was fortunate here that even a strong player like him fell victim to his to this not evaluating properly, or yeah, wanting maybe a little bit too much to keep things under control. This move, it's sensible. It removes the pawn and now threatens the b2 pawn, but it gives me time to deal with the threat. So I play c3 here, trying to restrict this bishop. I maybe could play b3, but I really didn't want to have like bishop d4, bishop c3 later in the game. He played bishop h4, trying to restrict my knight and yeah, just put my pieces in sort of a conundrum. So I took fg6, not sure if that's necessary, but in many variations I was bothered by him taking the pawn, so I just decided to remove it. hg6, and here I played king g1. It's a little bit unpleasant here for me, and the best way to deal with this is actually to play very actively rook e4. I consider this move, but after bishop takes g3, h takes g3, rook to d2, I thought this is not very pleasant. I only considered rook a4, but then a5, and I thought, okay, this is just bad for me. However, It turns out that in this position, it is possible to save myself by playing actively and playing, rook to e7, attacking the pawn from this end, and also pressuring the f pawn, preventing this rook from moving. And here, if he plays a5, I play b4, and yeah, it will turn out that no matter what he does, we will get some sort of simplified position where my rooks will be active, where I will get some pawns on the queen side, and where we should eventually be able to reach a draw. Unfortunately, I didn't play this. I played king g1, which is not so bad, but I was a little bit nervous here because I thought it's an error during the game. He played rook to d2, which is a good move. And here I played rook to e2. Initially, I wanted to play rook to f2, but during the game, and this was the whole idea of playing king g1, to prepare rook f2, but during the game, I miscalculated. I thought after rook f2, king to f2, f5, I thought I was losing because of this pin along the this h4 e1 diagonal, because f4 is coming. And I even started calculating king f3 here, f4, king g4, f takes g3, king takes h4, g takes h2. I saw this position during the game, but for some reason after king g3, I made a visualization error. I thought that my rook is on f8, his rook is on d8, and that rook d2 would be possible, which would be very bad for me. But somehow, in my calculations, I missed that his rook is on f8, and that here rook f2 is not possible, and this is probably holdable for white. Still probably unpleasant, but holdable. To be fair, after rook f2, he can continue, like, keep up the pressure with a move like this, so it's not such a big benefit. So rook e2 was not yet so bad, but I'm definitely under pressure here. I think the best way to equalize is rook e2. e4 here, after king g1, I'm under pressure again. After rook d2, rook e2. Here, I think he left me off the hook. Here he took on e2 and kinda allowed me to unravel a little bit. I think his last chance to play for the win here was rook f to d8. Initially, I thought that rook d2, rook d2, rook f2 is kind of okay for me, but it transpires that, of course, if he exchanges, then they don't have anything. But if rook d1, rook f1, and also if they exchange here, I just thought this is a drawish pawn endgame, which it is. But here, after rook f1, they don't have to exchange. He can play something like rook to d3. And this is actually evaluated by the engine as clearly better for black. And yeah, there's a lot of pressure here. His rook is very active, my rook is passive. I still have some problems with the king. Bishop is better than the knight, and this would have been, let's say, his last chance to play for the win. But it was not so easy to see. I think if we go back here, taking on b2 here was much more clear cut, and this is already, like, let's say, almost grandmaster level technique and way of keeping the pressure here. Not impossible to see a player of his level, who is basically almost GM level, but still, it proves that the chess is hard, and I was a little bit lucky. And after rook to e2, knight to e2, he kept the pressure with rook to d8. But here I realized that things are not so bad. I played g3, bishop e7, knight f4, and now I kind of managed to unravel and coordinate my pieces, and I have managed to diffuse his activity. So he played c4 here, which was not a bad move with the idea of bishop c5. So I played rook e1, making some room for the rook and the king, and preparing rook e2. He played bishop c5, and I still need to be careful. Automatic king g2 runs into g5, knight somewhere, and rook d2, and I don't have rook e2, and that was the b2 pawn and probably the game. So I played king f1 here, preparing rook e2. g5, knight h3, attacking the pawn. And now after rook d5, I went knight f2, trying to get the knight back into the game. I also considered g4 just to stop this pawn from moving and win some white squares, but I was a little bit worried by weakening of this diagonal, probably for no reason. But knight f2 was kind of okay. King g7, if he plays like rook f5, I play rook e2 and then king g2. He doesn't have that much here. King g7, and I play knight e4, and now when the knight came on e4, I was quite happy. Because now I've kind of managed to coordinate, unravel, all my pieces are on reasonable squares, and I don't have any clear weaknesses here. And after rook f5, king g2, rook f5, I went back, king f1. I could also consider playing g4 here, and in many other cases. King f1, bishop f8. Maybe he can play g4 here. I thought initially that knight c5 is okay for me, but it turns out that this endgame rook e1, king e1, bc5 is actually lost for me, because he will get to out-tempo me here, because he has a lot of reserve tempo with the f-pawn, and eventually I'll lose. which I didn't appreciate, but okay, I don't have to take. I can play some move like rook e2 or whatever, and then knight d2 even or something like that. Should be fine. But after bishop f8, he was on minutes here. I finally played g4, and now the game slowly unraveled to the draw. b5, knight g3, rook e1, king e1. This is just dead drawn. During the game I thought it's dead drawn and I knew it's a dead draw. So after king f6, king d2, I violated the advice from my previous video and actually offered the draw here, hoping he might want to accept. He didn't, but I think it was a justified draw overall all the same, because there's really not much and neither side can do here. I have some white squares, he has a weak g5 pawn, and there's no really way for him to get at my weakness to b2, let's say with some bishop f4, bishop c1, because yeah, I can easily guard it and also create some counter threats in the meantime. So after the game, even though he continued playing, after the remainder of the game didn't change that much. So yeah, ultimately after the time control on move 47, he did offer me a draw back, and I of course accepted, because A, I don't think I can even try to play for a win, and B, I don't think I deserved to win this game anyway. So yeah, what to say about this game? I mean, I was happy with the result. I'm not too happy with the way I played. I think it is a little bit too cowardly, and it conveys as if I was playing with fear and only trying to play for a draw, which was not the case. But okay, I did find some nice defensive moves. I was a little bit lucky that he let me off the hook by not taking on b2 here, and also by not increasing the pressure here, maybe with rook f to d8. But still, I mean, I think I did put a reasonable resistance. I think I played, you know, despite not playing the opening in the initial stage too well, I kind of defended very, very, you know, greedily, and ultimately was rewarded. So yeah, it was ultimately I was happy with the outcome and with how the tournament was going at this point. So yeah, that was the analysis of my second round game of the Groningen Open Tournament 2022. If you liked the video, make sure to check some other videos, either from this Road to Nowhere series or elsewhere from the channel. If you liked it, I would appreciate it if you liked, subscribe to the channel or share it with friends. And if not, well, thanks you for watching and looking forward to seeing you in another one. Bye bye.